Hey y'all, this is Marla K. Hope everybody is doing well. Got a couple of stories that I want to share with you. I think they're really important. They, in my opinion, are leading up to the Lawless one getting ready to come up on the scene. I know there are a lot of people who have their pontifications about who the Lawless one is. I don't necessarily know myself, but just based on some of what is happening today in real time, it just seems like a lot of things are lining up for Rome to come back into power. And you look at what's going on in Israel with the Gaza Strip, and then what's going on here in America. So many strange things that are happening with government, so many weird things that are just happening, and I'm gonna try to hit on them pretty quickly. But I'm gonna start off with this first story. Let me see where it is. Okay, this one. This first story to me is very weird. It's on Associated Press. It came out, I think, on February the 4th. But it says, "What is Ordo Amoris?" Vice President J.D. Vance invokes this medieval Catholic concept. And so this is pretty alarming to me because most people slept on the fact that this guy was Catholic. And just like with the Christian nationalism, Christianity, and all these different things that are coming to the forefront right now as America attempts to redirect and become a quote-unquote Christian nation again, really what they're saying is we're getting ready to transition back into the Roman Empire. We're getting ready to become a white supremacist society all over again, which is what's going on with the dismantling of DEI. Like, everything, in my opinion, happened for a reason. Like, they built this thing up so it can be torn down, so they can get us to this point where we are now. And the real test for believers, not Christians, but believers, people who believe in the Torah, in the Old Testament, who believe in keeping the Sabbath and the Ten Commandments, Yah's Ten Commandments, Creator's Ten Commandments, not the Catholic Church's Ten Commandments. We're getting ready to be tested, and we're getting ready to be persecuted. But you see it coming from a mile away, and this is what I want to talk about. We're starting to see the manifestation of what they call civil law, or Roman law. It's coming back to the forefront, and it's an intermingling of religion and government. Religion is government. And so, when I see these politicians who are, espousing Catholic theology, or as some have noted, that they believe that the current president converted to Judaism his first term, like the first or second year of his first term, and which is why he didn't put his hand on the Bible when he took the oath this particular time. I don't know for sure, it's allegedly. But if you understand, all these different religions, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Judaism, whether it is Islam or Catholicism, all of it came from Rome. And all of it is this form of governance. But these things have to be torn down so that the Roman Empire can come back into power, and then basically exterminate anybody that is going against them. Now, I'm believing that the Most High is going to come back before their plans are successful, but we don't know. And what we do know is what we're not supposed to be deceived by no man. And right now, men are deceiving us. Not all of us, because some of us are woke and we understand history. We can read. Doesn't mean that we are not in danger, but we just know what we know, what we know. So, let me get into this first story. And I'll try to get to the other ones really quickly. But all these stories are tied to Catholicism. All these stories are tied to what is coming in these things that are going on in this country that most people are sleeping on. And that are going to lead us to this day of rest, Sabbath, where Christians are not going to even realize that they have been duped because they have been trained or conditioned for a very long time to go to church on Sunday and feel guilty if you don't go. And we all know Sunday is the day of sun worship. It is not the seventh day of rest that the Most High requires us to adhere to show that we belong to Him. So they're setting the stage and making it real comfortable and merging the lines and blending all these different things, and they have people confused and people don't know what's going on. So I just want to talk about it so you will get an understanding of what's going on, and so that you can be aware, you can try to wake your brethren up, and so that you will not be ensnared by any of the traps from the adversary. So, Vice President J.D. Vance recently cited medieval Catholic theology in justifying the immigration crackdown under President Donald Trump. Just Google, the fact that he even said Google is ludicrous to me. But anyway, it just adds a layer of, it shows that everybody's in cahoots. Just Google Ordo Amoris. He posted January 30th on the social media platform X. He posted this in reply to criticism over statements he made in a Fox News interview. Quote, "You love your family, and then you love your neighbor, and then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens in your country. And then after that, you can focus and prioritize the rest of the world." End quote. He claimed that the, quote, far left, end quote, has inverted that. Now, to some extent, he is right. You're supposed to take care of home first. You can't be running out here taking care of other people and your house falling down. But you're also supposed to treat the stranger kindly, and we are supposed to not act like the Gentiles or the heathens. So the way that the heathens act and move, we don't act like that, but they have their own self-serving motives and their philosophies. They'll use people, and then when they get tired of you, or when the Ponzi schemes stop working, they got to get you out of here and fix things so that they can be comfortable, but it's always at somebody else's expense. And that's not how the Most High has his people live. And that's the difference between us and being set apart and then them. So we're not like them, and they not like us. And how they move and how we move, or how we should move, should be differently. But a lot of our people, because they don't know who they are, they've taken on the way of the heathen, and the lines are blurred. So Vance posted that the concept is basic common sense because one's moral duties to one's children outweigh those, quote, to a stranger who lives thousands of miles away, end quote. So what is Ordo Amoris? It's been translated as Order of Love or Order of Charity. It is a concept discussed by St. Augustine. And as soon as you say saint, you already know where that came from. So that's a whole problem right there, because in Hebrew culture we didn't have no saints. An ancient theologian, which means that's religious doctrine, uh, who said everyone and everything should be loved in its own proper way. Now you know that's quite contrary to what the Most High told us to do. The Most High hates stuff. He hates people. He hates behavior. He has hated this world. He's hated a whole lot of stuff and gotten rid of it. So to say that um, everyone and everything should be loved in its own proper way is quite the opposite, a contradiction to the word of the Most High. And so, this is one of those doctrines where he's putting this out here, and it's at a time when we are in New Age religion. People are, in the DEI, love everybody, do as you want to, do as thou wilt, all these different philosophies that are counter what the Most High told us to do. It's in contrast to the Ten Commandments and the laws and statutes of the Most High and the ways of the Israelites. So if you are a believer of Yah's way, you can't follow this doctrine. So, quote, now he's a man of just and holy life who neither loves what he ought not to love, nor fails to love what he ought to love, nor loves that more which ought to be loved less, nor loves that equally which ought to be loved either less or more, nor loves that less or more which ought to be loved equally. Augustine wrote. That's the most confusing stuff I done ever read in my life. I don't know what that is. This is why the English language is so confusing. It's just everything about it is a bunch of confusion. So what my takeaway for you is confusion. And our Father is not the author of confusion. So if it's coming from a man, especially who is a theologian, it's confusion. It is a contradiction, and it should be shunned. We should stay away from it. So I wanted to just highlight this in that J.D. Vance, he is a Catholic. So you need to understand what's happening, because our government has now been overtaken. Not that it hasn't been before, but there's just an overtly different type of governance happening, and it's very rigid and feels very like we're on the cusp of crusades again. And although the crusades have begun with the brown, we know that they will end with us. And so this is why we need to be paying attention to all the words that they're using, all the theologians and doctrines that they are invoking, because at the end of the day, they come in for us. Okay, now the next story that I want to share with you is from the Vatican News. It came out, I can't remember if it came out today. Nope, it came out on the 6th as well. So it says, the Pope to Orthodox priests, Nicene Creed unites all Christians. This is very important for anyone who's still in church, because this shows you where it all began, who's controlling everything, and where they are trying to lead us back to. Well, we never were led away from it. It's just the Roman Catholic Church has been hiding its hand, and now it's ready to come out. This ecumenical movement is in its final phases. And as we get ready to transition into whatever's getting ready to happen, they're preparing. And most Christians don't have any clue about what's happening. This is going to be the 250th year that this country was founded. And then you got the 1700th year of the Nicene Creed. It's a Jubilee year. So these years and these times are very significant to these people who believe in signs, symbols, codes, clues, and numbers. So we can't take anything that they say for granted, and that's why I'm just talking about it. We need to make sure it's on our radar. So it says Pope Francis meets with young priests and monks of the Oriental Orthodox churches and urges Christians to express our common faith in respect and fraternal love. So y'all know there is nothing common about the Most High. Christians who say they believe in God, they cannot believe in the same God that the Israelites believed in, because there was only one God and there was nothing common about him. He didn't tell his people to fellowship with all the nations. He told them to come out from all the other nations because they had other gods. They did other things that he forbade the Israelites to do. So we can't follow up with this stuff this man is saying. Now take note, ain't no Christian backing up. I'm sorry, not Christian. There are no precepts or no scripture backing up anything that he says. And then if you are well versed in the word and it's in your heart, it's in your mind, it's in your hand, you moved by it, you understand, don't make no sense. It's backwards. It's a contradiction. So quote, the proclamation of our common faith requires before all else that we love one another. We ain't got to love one another. The only people supposed to love one another are Israelites. We ain't supposed to love everybody, because some people worship other things and do other things that God hates. So he wasn't talking to everybody. His word wasn't for everybody. His word was for us, and we were supposed to take it out and share it with the rest of the world and exhibit. We were supposed to act the way that the word told us to act, and we didn't do a good job. So now the Gentiles are trying to reinterpret, their way of living and believing, and it is quite contrary to what the word says we're supposed to do. Pope Francis offered that reminder on Thursday as he met with a delegation of Orthodox clergy taking part in a study visit to Rome. Promoted by the Dicastery for Promoting Christian Unity. Christian unity got to be unified with the Catholic Church. The fifth study visit brought together priests and monks from Armenian, Coptic, Ethiopian, Eritrean, Malankara, and Syrian Oriental Orthodox churches. In his greetings to the group at the Casa Santa Marta, the Pope called the annual visit an exchange of gifts, which helps theological excuse me, which helps theological dialogue to go hand in hand with the dialogue of charity. He noted that this year marks the 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea, the first ecumenical council, which produced the Nicene Creed, a symbol of faith professed by all Christians. Symbol of Christian faith. Pope Francis went on to explore the meaning of the term symbol in reference to the Nicene Creed. On a theological level, he said, the creed, quote, sets forth the ensemble of the principal truths of Christian faith, which harmoniously complement one another. So all these different Christian groups, he got them to come together, or Rome got them to come together and say, this is what we believe. We're going to do the same thing, because doing something totally different was unacceptable. And so this is where Christianity came from. And you see who's controlling everything. That should be a huge red flag for most Christians. But most Christians are not here. They're not reading this stuff. They're not keeping up with it. They don't even know the history of Christianity. So it's really crazy that folks are still sitting in church not knowing that they are really Catholics. except for in name, not in name. So it says the Nicene Creed, he added, was the first synthetic symbol. Synthetic, y'all know what synthetic is, not real. Symbol created by the church and was therefore exemplary and unparalleled, because it was the first time all the churches and all the religions came together on the planet. It was just like the Tower of Babel. In antiquity, the Greek word symbolon indicated half of a document broken into two. So that's like what? What was the document that was broken into two? The tablets that Moses wrote the Ten Commandments on. See how they stealing? That's all they do. Lie, cheat, steal, and kill. To be presented as a sign of identity. Yeah, it was a sign of identity. The Ten Commandments was a sign between a covenant between the Most High and his chosen people. But they done stole it and said it's a Greek word, and they done gave it a different definition. Half of a document broken in two. What was the half a document broken in two? Come on, y'all. Stay with me. Noting that the Nicene Creed represents a sign of our identity and communion. No. Well, I guess their creed, yeah. But that creed was stolen from the Ten Commandments and the law that God gave to the Israelites, his chosen people, as a sign that they belong to him. That's why we supposed to be sealed by what we do, keeping them commandments and laws and statutes, how we behave, how we worship, our day of rest. All those different things are not a creed, but is a sign that we identify we belong to the Most High. They created a creed to say that you belong to the Roman Catholic Church. Okay? So when Christians talk about they go to church on Sunday and then you watch them, they're standing up in all these different denominations and they're reciting all these creeds and oaths and different things. This is what they're doing. They're not pledging allegiance to the Most High, and it's not even pledging an allegiance. It's just showing that you are a child of the Most High. You're not a part of his people. You belong to the adversary. Satan is your baby daddy. Okay, each Christian added the Pope possesses a piece of the symbol which can be fully expressed only when united completely to all other pieces, as witnessed in the Nicene Creed original plural form, we believe. So, they don't talk about what they believe, just none of it. Like, it's wild. But anyway, carrying this image a step further, he said, quote, I would say that we Christians, still divided, are like shards who must recover unity in the confession of the one faith. You can't have no one faith because y'all don't believe the same thing. Well, you might believe the same thing if you're a Christian, but I don't believe all Christians believe that they're believing what the Roman Catholic Church believes, or the Pope believes, or this ecumenical movement believes. And most people don't know what's happening. They don't know anything. It's such a shame. But again, I think these are going to be the biggest deceptions that the world has ever seen, and it's easy to see them coming to pass. So, Christian unity sought in fraternal love. Pope Francis then reflected on the spiritual significance of the symbol of faith, recalling that is primarily a prayer of praise that unites Christians to God. Which God? Quote, union with God necessarily takes place through unity among us Christians who proclaim the same faith, he said. That's not true. The Pope urged Christians to feel united. You got based on your feelings. You got to feel united to Christians of all traditions. That means the ones who alphabets, the ones who believe in um, messing with little people. That means it's just all kinds of things that it means that's not good. That's what that means. Um, when we profess our faith by proclaiming the Nicene Creed, he pointed out that the Eastern liturgy has a phrase that precedes the recitation of the creed. Quote, "Let us love one another, that in unity of spirit we may profess our faith in the Father, in the Son, and in the Holy Spirit." End quote. And again, recitation of the creed. You shouldn't be reciting the creed. You should be reciting the word. And this don't have nothing to do with precepts from the Torah. So it says, in conclusion, Pope Francis expressed his hope that the study visit of the Orthodox priests and monks would serve as a symbol of communion as the church journeys toward full union for which Jesus prayed. So I'm just going to let y'all meditate on that. And I'm going to end this. I was going to bring y'all a story about the Pope having a ceremony tomorrow, a jubilee of the armed forces, police, and security personnel. It's going to be a holy mass. I'll put a link to it in the description so you can read it. You can read what it's about. But I find it very interesting that he's chosen at this particular time to have a jubilee for those groups who are going to be responsible for policing the world as they attempt to get order during this transition into this new world order. So do not sleep on anything that these people are talking about. Do not sleep on any government. You exchange government or leader for king, these politicians, these charlatans, whatever you want to call them, heathens. Everybody has a role to do um, in helping to transition us so that the lawless one can come on the scene. I don't know how long it's going to take. We don't know what's going on per se, but I feel like Sunday law is coming real soon. The Catholic uh, Ten Commandments are being placed in the school, back into the schools as we speak. Most people don't know because they don't know the Ten Commandments. So what I would, at this point, it really doesn't matter because as you can see, all the faiths have converged. Christianity and Catholicism and all the other Christian religions are one. So who do you think is going to trump Big Papa? Nobody. So this is why the schools are going to have the Catholic, they're going to have the Catholic Ten Commandments. And this is why you're going to have Sunday worship. You're going to have a Sunday day of rest. And everybody's going to be happy because it's all Christian and everybody's on one accord and of one faith. But this is also the time where those who are believers, who believe in Sabbath, are going to be persecuted. And this is what we have to be aware of. This is why all this stuff is important. And as you can see, the president and his people going after DEI, going after the trans stuff, whatever, is to get the country back to be a Christian nation. And with that comes this unity for all, everybody on the same page, everybody reciting the Nicene Creed, everybody basically going against the Most High and worshiping the beast. So I know I'm one of the few people who have this thought process, but I'm keeping my eye on everything and everybody and trying to watch this, that, and the other. Do not sleep on these leaders who are Catholic. Y'all need to investigate everybody's background who's speaking today. What are their religious ties? Where were they educated? What types of fraternal orders are they involved in? The Pope loves to talk about fraternal this and fraternal that. I do not take any of those little words for granted because they are code for something. So y'all got to pay attention and look at these people because they're saying stuff. Their mere presence is foretelling something. So we just need to be ready. A lot of stuff is going to happen. A lot of stuff is going to happen, and we just need to be prepared. The Christian nation thing is happening. From my understanding, a lot of states have signed on to have these Catholic Ten Commandments put into the schools. Compare the Catholic Ten Commandments to the Ten Commandments in your Bible, and then you understand what is happening. Anytime, if you live in a state, if you're here in the States, and your state has adopted the going back to Christian values and the Ten Commandments going to be back in school, go look and see what the Ten Commandments are. Ask for a copy of them so that you will know. You don't have to fight. You don't have to put up no fuss, but you need to know that this is happening. This is an issue, and it's gonna be an issue. And people, most Christians do not know what's coming. They think they are doing the right thing, and they're not. They're gonna be mad at us because we're trying to live set apart and adhere to Sabbath, and they're gonna think people who keep Sabbath are wrong. It's coming. You can see it, and even with the Ten Commandments. I think the Catholic Church's Ten Commandments, their number 4 is honor thy father and thy mother. So again, look at the Catholic Church's Ten Commandments. Look at the Torah's Ten Commandments and compare them, and then move accordingly. If your children are in these schools, you need to be trying to get your kids out of these schools. You need to be trying to get your grandkids out of these schools because tyranny is coming, and all this unity and common good and fraternal this, full union, symbol of communion. This stuff is real. They're not saying this stuff for nothing. And keep in mind, all these people, all these kings who are running this country now have gone to kiss the ring of the Pope in the last 4 or 5 years. So they're all on the same page. They're all doing their part. They all are playing in the movie, and we just gotta watch it. We can't do anything about it. We've already been warned about it. And so what we need to do is just make sure we are not doing anything that is going to be a problem for ourselves, and that is going to have us marked instead of sealed. All right, y'all. Please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Leave your feedback in the comment section below. Share your thoughts about what you see or what's happening. Again, I know a lot of people don't think this is a big deal. I think it's a huge deal, and I think we're sleeping on it. I just do. Especially since I know that law, as we know it, comes from Rome. So I don't think by any stretch of the imagination it is, what's happening now isn't coming from Rome, because they run everything. They built this country, they're going to tear it down and build the new whatever they're going to build. They don't care nothing about us. So you just got to, make sure you're not being deceived. All right. Keep prepping, keep praying, keep seeking the Most High. Obey those laws, statutes, and commandments. Keep the Sabbath. Repent daily for sins of commission and sins of omission. And just try to hold it in the road, y'all. It's getting hard out here. It's definitely getting hard for me. I'm just getting a little tired again. But I still have faith. I know that the Most High is not going to forsake his chosen people. But he did not say we were not going to go through some things, and we are definitely going through them. So we just got to keep our faith. All right, this is Marla Kay. Love y'all, and